Well, every summer, members of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association get together to set policy for the organization. And while this year's event looked a little bit different, over 500 cattle producers and industry stakeholders met either in person, adhering to strict protocols, or virtually to discuss some of the most important issues our industry has recently faced. Kevin Ochsner spoke with NCBA President Marty Smith about the outcomes of this meeting.
And joining us now is NCBA President Marty Smith with an update from our summer business meeting. Marty, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you.
You know, you were just here in Colorado about a month ago with the summer business meeting, and I'm curious, why is the work at the summer business meeting so important to the beef cattle industry? And maybe you can tell us just a few of the key outcomes from this year's meeting.
Yes, our NCBA summer business meeting, and it is our most important business meeting. You know, our convention, we have a lot of business to conduct there. We have a lot of other things going on with our trade show, with our various social functions, etc. So the summer meeting is really our time to come together and work on resolutions, to work on policy. This year, in addition to some key policy considerations, we updated and renewed and put into place a new long-range plan for NCBA, and really it's a beef industry long-range plan that will also be utilized by CBB in our promotion, research, etc., work through the checkoff. So it is a very important meeting, and it was, we made the decision a few months ago that despite the issues with COVID, we really needed to come together in person. You know, we've done a lot of virtual meetings, we've done a lot of conference calls, but nothing has the same impact, particularly to get people to work together, that seeing one another in person does. That's how we conduct our business, and so we made that decision to move forward.
And tell me this, what are some of the policy priorities that NCBA is planning to work on as we move into the fall?
You know, the big issue at our mid-year meeting, of course, was live cattle marketing. And with the outbreak of COVID, even before that, with the Holcomb fire last summer, we saw some real disparity between the value and the price of boxed beef and what we were getting for our cattle. And that just really was exacerbated this spring with our marketplace. Really critical time for cattle producers all over the country. So our live cattle marketing group has been working on a lot of different options, a lot of different thoughts about what we can do as an industry to correct that and to see more value out of our cattle. So that was one of the key things that we really focused on at mid-year.
So Marty, tell us, how has NCBA made a difference for beef cattle producers over the last 5 months during this COVID-19 pandemic?
From the very outset of the pandemic, NCBA's initial focus was on keeping our supply chain going. Packing plants were being closed, transportation trucks were being stopped, and we knew that we had a lot of fat cattle that needed to go to market, but we knew too that we had a responsibility to help feed this country. And we certainly saw the response to that from our consumers early on in the pandemic when, you know, you heard and you saw the grocery shelves emptied of beef. We got great pictures of the beef all gone off the grocery shelf. All of the fake meat, all of the alternate proteins are still there. And we wanted to make sure, we needed to make sure, and we did make sure that that continued. I sent a letter to President Trump in March asking for the executive department's assistance with this. 6 hours later, we had a response back from the president. 2 days later, I was on the phone with President Trump, then with Vice President Pence and Secretary Perdue as we talked about ways to accomplish that. That led to an executive order from President Trump directing our packing plants and to stay open. And with that, we were able to keep that supply chain moving. Now it's backed up significantly due to slowdowns, et cetera. We're working through that now, but that was one of the big things. Next big thing we did was to go to Congress and get the CFAP program in place that helped with some direct payments to all cattle producers all over the U.S. And we're continue to work on some of those elements as well. So it's been a very busy time. Certainly not the things that necessarily we planned on doing before this, but we've responded very diligently, and we've accomplished quite a lot with this.
Well, clearly we've had our fair share of challenges this year as a society and certainly as cattle producers. Any closing comments or messages to cattle producers as we move into the fall?
Hopefully we're seeing some, the marketplace is starting to come back some. We've built up a tremendous backlog of fat cattle. That's been projected even starting back as early as April, as those plants were being closed or being slowed down. We're starting to get rid of some of that backlog, and we're doing it through the normal course of business. So hopefully that's going to lead to some better prices. We still don't know. A lot of the country started to open back up and then shut down again. That's going to be crucial to what we all do. The election is the other big thing for all of us right now. As we move into this election season, we've got a lot on the line. So we will be working a lot with that. By the way, we continue to work very hard on the transportation issue with hours of service. There's just a lot of things going on in Washington and elsewhere that NCBA continues to really focus on.
Very good. Marty, thank you for that update, and thank you for your continued leadership in this challenging time. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.